not an answer but a question. Darkness ain't a stranger, it's a friend. Just the other side of a big old coin in this big old world we're spinning in. It'll find you in the funniest of places, all straight lines and crooked roads. It'll help you lighten your burden. It'll help level out the load. It ain't where you're going, it's how you get there. It ain't who you've been, it's who you are. And this song is just a reminder. You ain't the only one out there in the dark. See, I used to think the world was out to get me, till I started shouldering the blame. From the outside our struggles look so different, but deep down they really are the same. I think every one of us was born an artist, a painter, a poet with a pen. Some run out of time, never learn to make it rhyme, and some of us refuse to give in. It ain't where you're going, it's how you get there. It ain't who you've been, it's who you are. This song is just a reminder. You ain't the only one out there in the dark. And you are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. This song is just a reminder. You ain't the only one out there in the dark. And this song is just a reminder. You ain't the only one out there in the dark.
Out There in the Dark is one of the two co-writes on this new record. I wrote this song with my friend Lori McKenna, who is a Grammy award-winning singer-songwriter. And it's kind of about what we always talk about as songwriters is we're writing songs to help people. We're writing songs to remind people that no matter what life is throwing your way, you're not by yourself in it. This is a very literal interpretation of that. It's reminding people that you're not alone in this. We're in this together. No matter what you're going through, somebody's been through it, somebody's going through it, and somebody has gotten out on the other side, not unscathed, but they're still here, and they're still operating, and they're still thriving. And that song's just a daily reminder to, like, no matter what you're going through, it gets better, and it will get better. You just got to head down, move through it. I'm really proud of that song. And again, so much credit goes to Lori McKenna. Every time we get in a room, there's magic in that room, and I think that's what Lori really brings to the table when she does co-writes. I think one of our jobs as a songwriter is to observe, process that observation, and then regurgitate that observation in a 2.5 to 3 minute song that other people understand what we observed. Throughout the year, I'm constantly taking notes. I've got like a little notes app. I make voice recordings, one-liners, song titles, conversations I overhear. and I collect them all into this kind of like little basket. And then when I sit down to write a record, I dig back through all of those observations and I write about the ones that move me. Sometimes you'll write down something that you think's genius and you'll go back 6 months later and it makes zero sense. But then there's some things that you read one line that you wrote 6 months ago and it immediately puts you back into that feeling. It immediately puts you back into the middle of the storm. I've made records this way since probably 2010, 2012. So it's a process that works for me. I've got plenty of friends that wake up every morning, write songs every day. They got to write a song every day. And I don't like to push it that much. I don't like to force it that much. I like to sit back, live my life, and then sit down and write a collection of songs that represent that moment of life that I took a kind of a deep breath and just observed. Records are snapshots. Records are these kind of chronological yearbooks of my life. Every 2 years, I get to sit down and take a school photo, and that school photo turns into a record. This new record is the 20th album we've put out in 20 years. So I've gotten pretty good at making the observation, converting the observation, and then putting it out to the public to see how they feel about the observation. So our new record, New Ways to Lose, is the 20th album or the 20th observation that I've made. So really excited about it.
There's a pillow on the bed where you laid your head every night for 13 years. Young and wild and only child, one half of a package deal. I packed you up, moved you out, and brought you both back home. I never knew the hole you'd leave until the moment you were gone. There ain't a day goes by that I don't think about you. Ain't a day goes by that you ain't on my mind. You were the goodest boy a man could ever ask for. My favorite hello was my hardest goodbye. We roamed around town to town for years, it was just us three. I hope I brought you half the joy that you brought to me. Sometimes at night, a sound, a sight, a smell is all it takes to remind me that your only fault was the fact you couldn't stay. Ain't a day goes by that I don't think about you. Ain't a day goes by that you ain't on my mind. You were the goodest boy a man could ever ask for. My favorite hello was my hardest goodbye. If I could grant myself one wish, I'd wish for a little more time. 'Cause loving you your whole life means missing you the rest of mine. Ain't a day goes by that I don't think about you. Ain't a day goes by that you ain't on my mind. You were the goodest boy a man could ever ask for. My favorite hello was my hardest goodbye. My favorite hello was my hardest goodbye.
The song Favorite Hello is about losing a pet. I was never a dog or a cat person growing up. We kept dogs outside. They served purposes. We had hunting dogs, we had watchdogs, we had feral dogs, but we never had like a pet that stayed in the house. When I met my wife, she had a 1-year-old French bulldog, and I wrote it off at first. I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Why do we have a dog that does not serve a purpose? But I grew to love that dog, and over the course of 15 years, that dog became my best friend. That dog traveled the country with me. That dog has been to 48 states. That dog has pissed on every welcome to sign in the United States of America. He became my best friend. And my favorite moment with that dog was getting home from tour. Because the first person that would meet me at the door was that dog. You could hear him, as soon as I put the keys in the lock and turned it, you could hear his little feet on the hardwood floor trying to get traction, and he would take off toward the front door. And so that favorite hello came from that. He was the first person that was there to tell me, hey, when I got back home from tour. And we lost him last year. And I wasn't prepared for the hole that losing your first pet leaves in your life. It's just an animal. It shouldn't affect you more than losing a parent or losing a best friend or losing a grandparent. But it does. And so when we lost Bueller, that was hard. And it really didn't hit me until the first time I came home from tour. And my wife was gone. My daughter was they were out of town. And I opened that door and there's nothing. It's just this silence. And you're reminded that like nobody's coming to say hello to you. Like there's an empty house and the dog's gone. And I sat down in that moment and wrote that song. It's one of the heavier songs I've ever written. I think a lot of fans are going to have a love-hate relationship with this song because hopefully it helps them through that loss. It helps them navigate tragedy and grief. But a lot of people hate me for it because they have to cry in public when I play this song. And this song inspired a new shirt at the merch table. It says, BJ Barham made me cry in public. And that comes from this song. And so it's a heavy song, but it serves a purpose. And it reminds us how important these relationships with our pets really are.
I wish that you could see her now. The right light, she looks just like you. The way her lip curls when she smiles. Got your name and your attitude. She asks about you all the time. At the age where she asks a lot, I show her pictures of you holding her. Who's that? I just smile and nod. I wish you could see the person that she's growing into. I wish you could see the things that bring a smile to her face. I wish she could sit around and ask you all these questions. I wish she could get to know more than just your name. We were a handful, that's for certain. Always standing on your last nerve. She's a spitfire, an outright heathen. You always get the one you deserve. Sometimes it's downright scary. They broke the mold when they made you too. That Miller comes out when she's angry, force of nature just like you. I wish you could see the person that she's growing into. I wish you could see the things that bring a smile to her face. I wish she could sit around and ask you all these questions. I wish she could get to know more than just your name. we can stop to visit. Every time we come back home, her little fingers trace the divots of her last name carved in stone. When I see her, I see the women that taught me everything they knew. I wish that you could see her now. The right light, she looks just like you.
Just Like You is a song I wrote about my daughter. Her great-grandmother, my grandmother, was named Pearline, and my daughter's Pearl. So like she got to meet the woman she was named after. And we have pictures of those two together, and it's pretty incredible. And she has no recollection of meeting these women. And so I wrote that song about having to explain a picture to someone. Like, you've met this person, but you've never met this person. You look like this person, but you're never going to get to see this person. And about how hard that is sometimes. The first verse is to my grandmother saying, I wish you could see her. She looks like you. I catch these moments where she smiles at me, and it's this thin lip smile, and I see your face, and she'll never know what I'm smiling at when I smile back at her. And the second verse is about my mom. You know, my mom used to tell me, you know, that I was going to get the kid I deserved. You know, I was a handful as a kid. And so she's like, you're going to get the kid that you deserve. And I got this version of me, this little tiny blonde version of me that is my mother's curse come to life. And that's a kind of a tongue-in-cheek way of saying, like, I was such an asshole to you guys growing up, and like the universe paid me back for it. Like, I've got this handful of a child that is so loud and outspoken and independent and wild, and it's awesome. And thank you for that. And then the third verse is about going to visit both of their graves. And both those women had my daughter's last name. Having her walk up to it, and for the first time seeing her last name and having to explain to him that, like, the two women that completely shaped my life, she got to meet them, and she reminds me so much of them, but she'll never get to meet them again. And that's a really hard thing to explain to a kid. And that song is just kind of about that struggle of, man, I wish you could have met them. I wish you knew more than just their name.